what does religion do for us in our daily life?
Yes.
It can provide community. It can provide a sense of calmness and love and charity and all of that.
You're listening to the Spiritual Shitshow podcast with Suzanne Soul, episode 61.
Hello, you holiday miracle, you, and welcome to the Spiritual Shitshow podcast, where we get into the long and winding road the healing and spiritual awakening journey can be. I'm your host, Suzanne Soul, comedian, lifelong spiritual student, and I'm sharing some of the wisdom I've learned along my journey that has helped me, and that I hope helps you too. Welcome to another Asking for a Friend episode, the series where I bring in ministers, therapists, artists, and other amazeballs humans to help unpack this wild ride called healing and awakening. And I'm not asking for myself. I'm asking for a friend. And you're the friend. Okay, I am asking for myself. I'm asking for me, and I'm asking for you. So since it's holiday time in December, here's the question. What's the deepest spiritual message behind some of these December holidays we got going on? And how can we actually connect to those messages instead of just getting lost in the sauce and the cards and the candies and the cookies and the carols and the gifts and the parties and the colorful clothing and the hugging and gosh, of course, all that is really, really fun. But also, let's talk about the spiritual messages of this stuff, shall we? And to help me explore that, I'm talking with someone who's basically an interfaith Jedi. My guest, Fred Stella, is an ordained Pracharak, which is code for Hindu outreach minister, with the West Michigan Hindu Temple. Fred has also served as president of the Interfaith Dialogue Association for over 23 years, and he hosts Common Threads, a long-running radio program on public radio in West Michigan, broadcast through NPR affiliate WGVU. It's a show that explores religion and spirituality through intelligent, thoughtful conversations with teachers, authors, clerics, and seekers of all kind. And Fred has been hosting that for over 2 decades. Fred was raised in the Roman Catholic tradition, but started exploring Hinduism at 15 years old and eventually embraced it fully in his 30s. He's studied and practiced in ashrams across the U.S. and India, and in 2009 was formally ordained as a Hindu minister. He also serves on the National Leadership Council of the Hindu American Foundation, has held leadership roles in the Self-Realization Fellowship, and works with the ACLU on religious freedom issues. In 2012, Fred was named a Champion of Diversity by the city of Grand Rapids. In this first part of our conversation, Fred and I talk about Fred's journey to Hinduism and the rich symbolism and shared spiritual themes beneath some of these December holidays we got going. So let's get into it.
Fred Stella,
Suzanne?
thank you so much for being on the Spiritual Shitshow, interview Shitshow.
My pleasure. I'm honored to be asked.
Oh, thanks so much. That means a lot to me. So, Fred, you are such a unique person. And how do you say the Hindu outreach name?
It's called Pracharak.
Pracharak.
And I should say Pracharak means a couple of different things.
Please tell us.
When we meaning the board of directors of the West Michigan Hindu Temple and I were creating this position of outreach minister, we wanted to give it a Sanskrit term because Sanskrit is our lingua franca. And someone came up with Pracharak, and it can be defined in a couple of different ways, but it does make sense. Pracharak and outreach minister. So my job in that capacity is to bring the community into the temple and the temple into the community. So I am the teaching arm of the temple. I'm not a priest. A lot of people They just don't understand that there is a difference. There are two
Yeah.
ecclesiastical positions at our temple. The priests,
Yes.
they do the ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They are in charge of that. We have two of them. And mine is completely different. I do not lead ceremonies at the temple. That's not what I do. But I do the lecturing. I do the tours. We have, then it's such a blessing. We have so many people, colleges, schools, civic group, churches, who they want to take a walk in the wild side. They want to
I love
see
it.
the temple. And
Yeah.
I often ask people, have you ever been to the Vatican? And if they say no, then I say, then this will be the most colorful religious institution you've ever seen.
Yes.
If they have been to the Vatican, I say this will be the second most colorful.
So what is the name? You attend and are part of a Hindu temple?
Yes, that is correct. I have
Okay.
two spiritual communities that I'm affiliated with.
Yes.
The West Michigan Hindu Temple is where I serve as Pracharak. And then Self-Realization Fellowship, I think some of your audience will probably know. It's a worldwide yoga society, deeply rooted in the Hindu tradition. And my wife, Teresa, and I are leaders of our local chapter.
Oh, how lovely.
So we go both ways.
Mm.
Can I rephrase that?
No, I love it. um, so you were raised, well, what makes you such a cool person to talk to about the holidays is because you're such an interfaith person. And I know you serve in an interfaith capacity.
Yes.
As being raised and educated in Roman Catholic tradition, as did I. I'm a recovering Catholic.
Yeah.
And then your move into Hinduism with the experience that you have in growing up in Catholicism, studying Catholicism. I would love to hear, like, what are some of the common threads, as you would say in your NPR radio show, Common Threads, which we'll talk about as well,
Yeah.
between the two traditions of
sure.
Catholicism and Hinduism.
Yes, because of the following. Number one, the use of sacred imagery, right?
Yes,
Catholics
makes sense.
use statues and paintings.
Yes, saints abound.
Yes. And so I can't tell you how many times I've brought in a Catholic group for a tour of the Hindu temple. And they're looking at these, what we call murtis. A murti is a sacred image, in most cases, a statue. All right. Maybe in all cases, a statue. So they'll look at a statue of Shiva, a statue of Krishna, or whatever is in the temple, and they will say, "Oh, well, this is what we do." So there is that common thread. Then there's also the devotional practices.
Yes.
And also Catholicism, even though it's kind of kept in the attic like the crazy uncle, they do have a very strong contemplative tradition.
Yes.
And you can be a 7-day-a-week Catholic participant at Mass, but you have to really look to find. And now I will say this: today is better than it was before. There is a strong resurgence of the Catholic contemplative practice.
And might I say that I'm a big Joseph Campbell person, and he brought that element
Yes, he
to
did.
a lot of his teachings about Catholicism.
Another thing is the idea of sacred space.
Yes.
Space is sacred. A church is consecrated. It's holy ground. A temple is sacred space. It is also consecrated. And so there's that as well. And there's a few things. There's a few things here and there.
Yeah,
Those are the most.
Yeah, as soon as you started talking about the statues and the sacred images and things, I was like, that is so true. They are very, very similar in that way.
Yeah.
Very kind of ancient, deep mythological, sacred deity
Yes.
images and
Exactly.
that world. And as soon as you said it, I was like, I never thought of that. And that is so, so true.
And
They're both steeped in that.
and one thing you just mentioned, mythology, that's important.
Yeah.
In Catholicism and certainly in some Protestant sects,
Yes.
you can read parts of the Bible allegorically / mythologically.
Yes.
So Catholicism does not teach that there was a genuine Adam and Eve.
Right. Right.
That Eve, the first woman, literally came from the rib of the first man.
Right.
Okay, even the Christmas story
Yeah.
can be taken allegorically.
Yes.
And Hinduism, you mentioned Joseph Campbell, is filled with beautiful myth. And a lot of
Yes.
time in religion, myth can be a dirty word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
it's a myth? You mean
Right.
you're saying it didn't historically happen?
Right. You mean they weren't cloning people?
Yeah. And,
The first cloning was occurring?
yeah. There is a Roman philosopher who defined myth. I believe his name was I may be butchering this, forgive me, but it's close to Solicitus.
Mm-hmm.
And he defined a myth as something that never was, but always is.
Was he going door to door to tell people this?
A myth is a story that has tremendous power,
Yes.
and has a universal sense to it, right? Because that's what Joseph Campbell said. Well,
Yes.
you've got this myth here. The American Indian population was telling this story,
Yes.
and the Norse people were telling this story. And
Yes.
wow, isn't it interesting how
It's
they're
Common threads.
Exactly, common
Yeah.
threads.
And something that also that Joseph Campbell said once that I just love. And he said, taking the Bible literally is like going to a restaurant and eating the menu
Yes, I love that.
because it's pointing to mythology within ourselves and our own. I mean, that's what my feeling is, and our connection with the divine and our own story of our existence.
Yeah.
So, with all of this, a massive amount of experience that you have, kind of exploring all of these different spiritual traditions and practices and religions, then we have this month of December. And it is filled with holidays and observances and festivals.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we know there's Christmas.
Yep.
And then there's Hanukkah. And then there's Kwanzaa.
Yep.
And then there's Bodhi Day. It's the Buddha's Enlightenment Day.
Yep.
And then the festival of Ganesha, who is the remover of obstacles.
And there's another.
And another.
There's another Hindu auspicious day. I wouldn't call it a holiday. I would
Right.
call it an auspicious day.
Yes.
And that, interestingly enough, celebrates the incarnation of the three main Hindu gods. Most people are aware of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva.
Right.
Okay. Brahma is considered the god, the creator god. Vishnu, the sustainer, and Shiva. I know I was taught way back when he's the destroyer, which make him sound like a Godzilla god, but he is really the recycler. I
love
often
that.
I often describe Shiva like a planned forest fire, where you have old brush, you've got a dead forest because it's so dense the sun can't get in. And so not only do you have no flora, you have no fauna. There's no place for a lot of animals to live. So you burn that down
Yes.
and allow for fresh
So
growth.
fresh.
That's what
yeah.
Shiva does, as opposed
Ah.
to just go around destroying, breaking
Right.
things. So there is a story, a myth of Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu actually joining forces into one body of this entity called dattatreya. And so Dattatreya's birthday, if you will, also falls in December. A few years ago, his birthday actually fell on Christmas Day. So there's that as well.
What is the personification of his, what's his character?
Sometimes in Hindu mythology, a virtue is taken to almost absurdity. So Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva had heard that there was this very, very holy woman that lived in India, and they wanted to test her. And so they all combined into this one being, Dattatreya.
Like kids in a giant trench coat?
Yes, like that. Perfect. And so Dattatreya went to this woman's house. The husband was not home, so it was planned this way. And so she received Dattatreya as a guest, all right? And in Hinduism, there is a saying, Aditi Deva Bhavo, the guest is God.
Yes.
That is how important hospitality is.
Yes.
So she makes him a meal. And, she says, well, is there anything else that I can do for you? And he said, I would like you to completely disrobe.
Well.
Yeah, there you go.
Serious hospitality.
But to her, all beings, even though this was an adult, all beings were her children. She loved them. And so disrobing in front of him, in her mind, was no different than disrobing in front of an infant. And so she disrobed. And what happened? Dattatreya, I'll use the term, melted into the three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, as babies.
Aww.
Yeah. So there you go.
So what is the message of that story?
The message of that story is, of course, it encourages hospitality. But as I say, that we all are divine beings.
Yes.
Okay. But no, you are not to take away from this story, Suzanne, that if a stranger comes to your door,
I should
you're not to
disrobe.
invite him in, and if he says, take off your clothes,
Don't do it.
don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that for the cable guy. Who was the woman?
A very sacred, a very holy woman.
Okay, so she was just like, people thought she was something else.
Yes.
So then they came so that they could experience,
Test her.
test her. And then when they all came apart and they became babies,
Yes.
was that what just happened to them, or did they decide it?
No. That's really interesting, because in mythology, here's the thing, and people level this as a criticism to Hinduism. Sometimes you often find stories in our myths where the gods are acting less than godlike.
Sure, yes, they're definitely bad behaved gods.
Yeah.
In Indian and Greek and Roman culture.
Yes, of course.
100%.
But here's the thing. The way I look at it is that they are simply playing roles
Yes,
for our
100%.
edification.
Yeah.
So they didn't become. It was the woman's power that turned them into babies. So she was actually controlling the gods themselves.
Okay, so
with her love and hospitality.
Got it. Okay, but he is the god that they were when they got all together is the one that's celebrated.
That is correct. So
okay, and why is that the case? Just out of
because it's all three. You are celebrating what is called the Trimurti. Trimurti essentially is Trinity.
Yes. Okay.
So you are celebrating the most important. Again, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are considered the most important gods.
Yes.
their consorts, Lakshmi, Parvati, and Saraswati, are the most important goddesses.
Yes.
Okay, because each god has a goddess,
Yes.
and the goddess is the power behind the god.
Yes.
And so you are celebrating that union of divinity,
Yes.
of the creator, the sustainer, and the recycler, if you will.
Okay. And you know what? Like, I like to take things metaphysically sometimes.
Yeah.
And what I am like kind of picking up by my own interpretation of hearing that story is, to me, like the celebration of the gods affirming that our own divinity, and like the testing is kind of, I think, like our own experiences in life, how sometimes they feel really rough to us, but on the other side of them, we're more evolved, we're more in touch with the eternal sense of ourselves. And it almost feels like it could be looked at in that way, where the celebration is celebrating the presence of those three gods in the physical world.
That's what sacred stories do.
Yes,
They
yes.
allow us to
Yes.
come up with our own understandings of them. That's
Yeah.
that's a beautiful take on the story. Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, because it feels like, kind of a celebratory thank you for honoring us as human
Yes.
beings in
Yes.
our own, the part of us that connects to the spiritual.
Bingo.
I just would love, obviously, with your experience growing up as Catholic and then transitioning into Hinduism, what is your perspective on the Christmas holiday?
Well, it's absolutely beautiful in many, many ways. I still get very nostalgic when I think of the Christmases that I experienced growing up. I still celebrate Christmas. And that's one of the wonderful things about Hinduism, is that it is so pluralistic. It sees the beauty in other religions.
Yeah.
I am not unique in being Hindu and celebrating Christmas. But even though Jesus does not have an official place in the Hindu pantheon, he certainly has a presence in a lot of expressions of Hinduism.
Oh, okay. In what way?
Well, you may know that Gandhi, when he developed his nonviolent approach to defeating the British, he drew upon the Gospels for inspiration.
I did not know that.
Huh?
I did not know that.
Yeah, yes. Along with the scriptures of his own Hindu tradition. Interestingly enough, guess where Martin Luther King got a lot of his practical inspiration?
The Bhagavad Gita?
Well, indirectly, he got it from
Okay.
Gandhi.
Oh, yes, 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 absolutely.
He made a pilgrimage to India at some point in his career to honor the man who inspired his nonviolent resistance. Basically, what happened in the 19th century, maybe a little in the 18th, I don't know, but I know in the 19th century, a number of Hindu intellectuals started reading the Bible. At that time, Britain still held them as a colony, and there was a big push to, of course, convert these heathen Hindus.
Yes, yes.
And some of the Hindus were converted, but most of them were not.
Yes.
But some of them who were not converted still studied the Bible, and they read the Bible through a Hindu lens. So a lot of people, a lot of Hindus, developed a veneration for Jesus. And in Self-Realization Fellowship, if you've been to an SRF temple, you know that Jesus is on the altar,
Yes.
but not Jesus, the unique Son of God.
Right.
I often refer to Jesus as a Jewish Buddha,
Right. Yes.
someone, a real life human being who
Yes.
is as divine as we are, no more, no less.
Yes.
He did the spiritual work that we all should do.
Yes.
We reached a state of enlightenment.
Correct.
That's okay. So with all of that said, we in our household, my wife Teresa and I, celebrate Christmas. We have a tree, but we also you might find this interesting. Again, back to Self-Realization Fellowship.
Yeah.
They started a tradition in 1931 where a day in Advent, the local chapters can choose any day in Advent and hold an 8-hour meditation in honor of Christmas.
That's a
We-
long
we-
ass
we-
meditation.
Yeah. Now, it's not sitting in absolute silence for 8 hours because there are breaks for chanting. There are
Yes.
breaks from readings from
Yes.
our wisdom tradition. There's a couple of breaks for yoga, but it's a solid 8 hours.
Mm.
We, as the Hindu community, we don't look at it as the birth of a savior.
Yes.
This is what Christianity,
Correct.
the birth of the child who will grow up to save their souls from damnation.
Right.
That is, we don't believe in the need for salvation in that sense.
Correct. Yes.
Sometimes the word salvation is used, but when a Hindu uses the word salvation, what they really mean is liberation.
Yes.
Liberating
Yes.
one from the bonds of the material world.
Rather than saving someone from a perceived idea of hell and demons and torture,
Yes. Exactly.
which is like just going on right now in your own head.
So that is how I see Christmas, and that is how many of my co-religionists see Christmas as well.
Yeah. So is seeing it as a birth of
a great saint, of a
great saint, of someone who is going to become self-realized.
Yes, exactly. And we can't forget the pagan roots of the celebration of new light.
Yes, please share that.
Well, the solstice is the 21st, usually 21st,
The winter
22nd
solstice,
of December.
It will be 21st.
Which is the 25th. And on that first day of winter, all of a sudden, you have more light.
Yes.
It's just like maybe a minute more light than you had on the 20th or the 19th. But light is starting to increase
Yes.
on the solstice.
Right.
That matters.
Yes. So though that mythology, the story of the birth of Jesus and bringing a person who brings the light into the world by the potentiality of it, of the self-realization, the connection on earth, like the 100% plug into the eternal, coinciding with the earthly change of the sun. We're having more sunshine and having more light. That's beautiful, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It
Yes,
truly
is.
is beautiful.
And we can thank our pagan forebears for that.
100%. Yes.
And I think probably everyone watching this knows that there is no known link to December 25th and the actual day of Jesus's birth.
Right. Yeah, that was
Often
kind of
speculated that it's in sometime in the spring.
right.
What's
Interesting.
the fun of that?
Right. Yeah. I wanted to have this conversation with you just to ponder and to contemplate and to think about all of the messages that come from these holidays that we kind of go through on a cycle in December. And it's just like, okay, now this, now this, now this, now gifts, and da da da. And all of that is fun. I have no naysaying about that. I love a good Christmas cookie. I love it. I love a nice Christmas gift card. But at the same time, it's kind of revolving around a more eternal or common thread mythology that we're kind of trying to interpret the uninterpretable through our stories and these realizations. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but this
you are. You are. I can't imagine anybody listening to you who doesn't understand exactly what you're trying to say. 100%.
Yeah. Okay. And so from talking to all the interfaith people, what is your take on what other religious folks, like how they see the message, or do they get any of the metaphysical idea of the spiritual stories of Christmas or Hanukkah and things
It
like
it
that?
it all depends. We have so many different people of different theologies in our interfaith fold here in Grand
Beautiful.
Rapids and elsewhere. And some people are much more literal. They shy away from the mystic,
Yeah.
and other people embrace the mystic, sometimes in conflict with the tradition they practice, because their tradition may be sort of, I'll use the term, anti-mystic,
Yes.
anti-allegorical, anti-mythological,
Yes.
but into the individuals, they may, and some of them have expressed, I would say, a bit of bravery in saying, okay, I'm still going to. I've been with this denomination or this church for X amount of years, my whole life, and I'm not going to move. But you know what? I'm not going to let them dictate exactly what I believe.
Yes,
And
which is
maybe I don't
important.
even know everything that I believe.
Right. I do think like that is such an important point, that no matter what tradition that we are practicing, that we explore within ourselves our own things that resonate with us. And
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, to me, that's the way to really absorb the teaching and use it in a way that actually affects your life and the way you see things.
Bingo.
Yeah.
You are very correct on that.
Yeah.
I've known a number of people who have done that. If you've sort of broken out of the mold that they were raised in,
Yeah.
and they start questioning things,
Yes.
and some of them leave that. Religion has, you can say that it has two elements to it, the mundane and the transcendent.
Mm.
Now, the mundane would mean, what does religion do for us in our daily life?
Yes.
It can provide community.
Mm.
It can provide a sense of calmness and love and
Mm.
charity and all of that. That's the mundane. That's in this world. Then
Yes.
there's the transcendent. What happens in the next world, assuming that there is a next world?
Right. The story of Christmas, of Jesus' birth and the manger and the animals and no room at the inn and that whole story,
Yeah.
how can that be translated into our daily experience, or even just the experience of the holiday? Like, what exactly is that personifying about us?
Well, if you want to take it at its most mystical,
Hmm.
remember that when have you ever heard that, if you're discussing archetypes psychologically, that in our dreams we actually are everybody. We're not just
Yes.
us. But
Yeah.
if you're dreaming about you and your mother is also you.
Yes.
In a myth, the same is true.
Yes.
So when you read the Christmas story,
Mm.
you are baby Jesus. You are Mary. You are Joseph. You are the host of heavenly angels. All right. And you are the shepherds.
Mm.
So a good thing to do would be to concentrate, to read that story from each point of view and
Okay.
find out, how does this speak to me?
Okay.
The
So,
fear,
yeah, how could it be
fear.
seen, what part of someone could be the birth of Jesus?
Okay,
Yeah, the
so the birth of Jesus as a baby, we're talking about someone who is, at least on one level, helpless.
Mm.
It's interesting because in the Quran, as I think you know, that Jesus has a lot of ink in the Quran.
Oh, I did not know that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. As a matter of fact, there's more about Mary in the Quran than there is about Mary in the Bible.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. Jesus was the prophet right before Muhammad. They
Mm.
have a lineage of prophets starting from Adam all the way through Noah and several other of the Jewish prophets, then Jesus, and then Muhammad. So, Jesus has a part to play. Now, in Islam, they have the birth story, and Jesus popped out speaking, and he was basically, a 7-inch adult.
Thanks for coming to my birth, everybody. Who, who's from Cleveland? Anyone from Cleveland?
Yes, but in the Christian story, Jesus is helpless. He needs his mother. So we can look at the baby Jesus as that part of us that is helpless, that needs the aid of perhaps a divine mother figure, or the protection of a Joseph. If we are Mary, if we see ourselves as Mary, we are the faithful divine vessel. We carry divinity within our metaphorical womb.
Yes, and express it out.
That's
beautiful.
Exactly. If we are Joseph, we learn to live with virtually no recognition whatsoever.
You are the middle sister. That's hilarious. What about the guy that doesn't take him in at the inn? Is that our doubting Thomas in us?
There you go. So, there are. You have to look for that, and then think about. Well, you have the Magi, who are the Magi, and I don't want to give too much because this is really everybody's
introspective.
Yeah, in the same way that you gave your perspective on dattatreya, on the meaning of dattatreya.
Yes.
You came up with that on your own.
Yes, that's true.
And looking at a sacred story like that is like looking at a painting. And if you look at an abstract, now if you looked at a really realistic painting of a car and said, "Oh, that's a horse," the artist would probably say, "No, idiot, it's a car." But if you're looking at something abstract and the painter, the artist is right there, and you say, "I see this, that, and the other thing," if he says you're wrong, the problem is with him.
You're right. Yeah. No, that's a beautiful thing. A beautiful sentiment of looking at the stories, and especially the Christmas story, and all of the personalities and the characters involved in the Christmas story, and saying they're personifications of different parts of my psyche, and how do they speak to me? What are they communicating to me? That's beautiful.
Exactly.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. In general, what is your take on how we can maybe look at the holidays in more of a personal, experiential way in any of these holidays?
To take each holiday and spiritualize it as much as possible. Because now, according to the teachings that I am aware of, when you have the critical mass of people sharing devotional thoughts, so let's take Christmas, for instance, there is a bit of a shift in the world. Yes, there's crass consumerism. Yes, there is stress. Yes, there are family feuds and dynamics that have to be worked out or not. But there is also the ideal of God with us.
That's beautiful.
All righty then. That's it for part 1 of this Asking for a Friend Holiday Deep Dive with my guest, Fred Stella. And as you can already tell, this conversation needs more than just one episode, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about. In part 2, we get into Fred's decades of interfaith work and talk about how Ganesha can help us clear the gunk of the year away and get ready for the new year. Anywho, as always, my name is Suzanne Soul. This has been the Spiritual Shitshow Podcast. Thank you ever so much for listening, and I will see you motherfuckers on the next one. Road it, you star of wonder and light.